Are we live? We are live. Right, seeing we're all trapped in, I thought I'd join in on this. I know there's a lot of content for you guys to watch out there, but I thought I'd hit you up with some really common stuff that actually, you know, is going to help you to play songs. And some of these things, they crop up time and again in different songs. So what we're actually going to do is I'm going to go through one specific change, and I'll pop on here and I'll do some more of these common chord changes. So what this comes from is generally, if you get songs in the key of E minor or the key of G, then what you'll find is that you will play going from G to an E minor a hell of a lot. And there's a little trick, and there's a little cool little device that gets used all the time, and that is, yay, caught me live, brilliant. So there's this thing. If you can see little lights flashing around, I've got a rainbow maker, and the sun is shining in, and there's rainbows being cast everywhere. It's wonderful. So we have these three chords that we're going to use today. We're going to use the G, we're thinking D, and we're thinking E minor. But what we're going to do is we're going to keep what I call the sticky fingered G on. This is kind of part of something that I call the sticky fingered method, which I might do something with that in a further video. Probably will do. So if we take this G, and the G that I prefer is this one here. Yeah, where you put your third and your fourth fingers on the third fret of the G, of the B and the thin E string there, rather than what I deem this to be. That's the Bob Dylan G. That's the kind of like folky one, and that sounds a little bit slightly off. Whereas this one, it's nice and rounded and finished off. This one. So harmony-wise, it's just smoother. It's just like it's just got something really, really ringy and bright and positive about it. So the thing is, that's the one that I do prefer in this. But the cool thing is that I get to keep these two fingers on. If I get to keep these on, then I can have something to pivot on. You'll come across this all the time. So we end up pivoting on these two fingers. So we take that G, right? And I said I'm going to go to a D. Now, if I pull down into a D, those of you that know your chords already will realize that this is a D sus4. Yeah, so this is the D sus4 here, which is a great chord. And if you take your pinky off, and just imagine you're having tea with the Queen, that's what you would end up with. And that in itself is a great exercise to do on its own. Take a D like that, put the pinky on, take the pinky off, put the pinky on. What you're doing is you defeat the difficulty by repetition. So just take it off, put it on. Take it off, put it on. Take it off, put it on. If this is your first time here, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe, drop a like, drop a comment. If you know this D sus4 chord, then you will know you can do that. And I've got another cool move with that, which I'll do in a further lesson on another day. But the thing I want to get through today is that G, D, and E minor move, which is so common. It's in a whole host of songs. So the thing is, so we've got that there. Now, I'm going to let you in on a little bit of a secret for the theory nerds out there, and for all of you other guys out there. So I always like to get a little bit deeper, and so the whys and the wherefores of putting your fingers where you put them. If you look at the D chord, and I take away everything apart from the second finger, you can see that that second finger's on the second fret of the E string, the thin E string. If it can be applied on the thin E string, then it can be applied over onto the thick E string as well. So look, if I take that there, I could put my thumb over and get that. And those of the more astute amongst you will know that that is a D/F sharp. Yeah, yeah. Right, so thanks, Jared. So here we've got we've got this D, we could put that over there. Now, I have got stumpy thumbs, yeah. I'm a stumpy fingered person, yeah. There's no two ways about it. And I can't grow my thumbs. There's no way I can stick them in compost and grow them or anything. So essentially, I have to compensate. And that's the way to think about it. If you feel you've got small hands, then what you have to do is you have to compensate. That's what I've had to do through all of my guitar playing life. When I see guys like Steve Vai and the Paul Gilberts and all those, and I'm jealous of the massive stretches, I think to myself, well, I know my theory, so I'll theory my way around it, and that's what I do. So anyhow, that's on an aside. So what I do is I actually play it like this. I just move my finger over there. I'm retaining these two notes here on the G and the B string. You can see that they're still there. I'm just holding them with different fingers. So if I hold them with different fingers, then that frees my pointy finger up to hold that note at the second fret. So that gives me a D/F sharp. And the thing is, because this is this one here that I'm moving here, that's the third of the chord. That's the emotion note. What I do is it kind of places the emotion over on that string there. It's really, which is cracking. It's a nice thing you can do. But the problem is, oh yeah, you've got that pesky thin E string that you kind of think to yourself, well, hang on, I could put that in there. Well, I'll put that in. I could have that there, and there's ways around it to be able to play grips like this. And whatever grip works for you is the best one for you. That's the only thing you need to worry about. So, but for me, I just put that pinky on, and I go back to that sticky fingered method that I was on about. I just keep those two fingers there. So when I do this, then essentially what I'm kind of thinking is it's a mixture of the D sus4 with that third switched on there. Now, any of you that know your chord theory know that wouldn't actually be a sus4, that would be add 11, but don't worry about it because the main thing is seeing the shapes. Yeah, and talking about seeing the shapes, don't worry. What I will do, as ever, is I will draw out a PDF with the chord shapes and put it in the description. So make sure you come back and download that. So that will be there for you to be able to print off and peruse at your leisure. So we've got this one here. That's what we're going to use for that D shape. And it doesn't look anything like a D shape anymore, but hopefully you can see how I've evolved that three-fingered triangle shape that the D chord is, add in the pinky, turn it into a sus4, yeah, and then switching that third over onto the thick E string instead. So that means I just modify everything. I bring the second finger up to take care of the fifth here. So that's on the second fret of the G string. So put my first finger on there. And that essentially gives me that chord there. Yeah, it's using all four fingers, which is always going to be great to do. Now, here's a kind of a cool thing. This is almost like, I kind of almost think of it like a star jump. What you do is we're going to take these two fingers here and we just pull them in together to make an E minor. Let me just pull in a little bit closer on that, actually. You can see that there. So there, I've pulled the E minor in, but I've kept the sticky fingers on 3 and 4 there. So essentially, that would be an E minor. Now, if I put that note on there, that gives me a 7, so that's an E minor 7, and I put that on there, well, that's a G, and that's part of an E minor anyhow. Yeah, so that's an E minor 7. So we're fancying these chords up somewhat, and you hear this chord change all the time. So the three chords that I've got are that D/F sharp, and I've got a G. Now, like I say, the G that I play, I kind of think of this as being the Oasis G. Yeah, there is. I'm trying to think which Smashing Pumpkins song it is, but it's definitely Melancholy in the Infinite Sadness or something like that. Now, the reason this move is so cool is because what happens is we get a lovely descending and ascending bass line. We get movement in the bass, and that's what the ear is drawn to. So the bass goes from the Disarm, that's the one. Yeah, right. So 3rd fret, 2nd fret to the open. So that kind of helps to outline the chords, even though that F sharp, you wouldn't ordinarily hear it in the D chord because it's buried under there in a high voice. So here, if I just played those chords G, D, and E minor as normal, they're kind of blocked as chords. They don't have any kind of connection, and this is what this move does. It takes this bass line and it connects those together. So if I play that G, you can hear that, and down to the E minor, yeah, and going back up again. These are the same chords. I think it's Songbird by Liam Gallagher. So you can see now it's a bit like skipping, and what you can do, and I always find that this is a good idea, is take the strumming out of the pattern, because you only have so much headroom when you're learning, and you don't want to overload your brain. So what you could do is hold the strings here, hold the chords, and actually really, really carefully observe your fingers and move them slowly, get them into position, and then into position, and then into position, and then into position. Just take your time, put your fingers into those positions. And remember, we have this lovely little pivot here that keeps us in place. This never comes off. So this never comes off, and we just go E minor, thinking of that as being the D, because that's the way you're going to think of D now. And there's the G, there's the D, there's the D, there's E minor, D, G, D, E minor, D, G. And then what you do is you just keep practicing that without strumming. Why without strumming? Is because we're focusing on the hand mechanics and programming the hand mechanics. And if I just said to you just to try this, guys, and you'll get the idea of where this comes from. This is working with your nervous system. If you just fold your arms like this, you can fold your arms like this very, very easily. You've probably been doing it all your life since school, because they told you to fold your arms so you didn't, hit the kid next to you. Now, what I want you to do is fold your arms the other way, and you'll see how odd that feels. Yes. So the thing is, what you've got to do is you've got to think, well, how does it look? How does it look? Well, this hand's pointing up, this hand's pointing down. If I switch it, I'm just mirror imaging it. That gives you a reference. It gives you a reference. So it's also how it feels as well. That's an important thing about guitar, is it's all about how it feels at first, really, because that's the primary kind of feedback that you get. Is it's going to hurt as well if you're fairly new to guitar as well. So, but you're not going to know if it sounds right, and you're not going to know if it looks right, because you haven't got the images of what the chords should look like in your head. So how it feels is super, super important. So just focus on how it feels to learn this progression. Like I say, look, I'll just point this back down here. Right, there's a bit of sunshine coming through there, which is awesome. Right, so E minor, D, G, D, E minor. So we can play that. I can even ditch that second finger, Right, if you have any idea, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a capo, not a capo. I'm going to put a capo on this. If I put this on the 2nd fret, if you have any idea of any songs, that use this, please drop them down in the comments. As many as you can think of, that would be amazing. And use a capo with it, shift it around and find these different areas. This sounds brilliant. Yeah, so there's lots of fun to be had with that. I think that's just about it for today, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I'll pop in again soon with another cool move for you. Stretching your fingers because you've got small hands, Ron. The thing is, yeah, I've got small stumpy sausages. Look at those. There's not much there, yeah, so there isn't much there. The thing about stretching your fingers and having your hands is understanding how your hands move. There's this kind of shape here. It's this kind of weird fanning, yeah. That's going to be the widest stretch you can get, that one. But we have to come on to that. I'll do another lesson on that, Ron, so don't worry about that. Anyhow, like I say, if you've enjoyed this one, hit the like. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you tune in for another one. I'll come and drop some more cool moves in. All together, these things all add up and they make songs happen and make them just a little bit more of a delicacy. So you know, so you're not just banging away and strumming at and sounding duff. We don't want that. I want you to sound as best as you possibly can. So thank you for tuning in, guys. And until next time, I'll see you then. Yeah, handout. There will be a PDF in the download very, very soon. Let me just write it out. Okay, see you later.